Hey, Hunter! We need you to go and stop a world-ending threat from destroying the town! And the world! What? Sorry, this is my first day. But if you don't, we'll all die! But I don't even know the jump button yet! Oh god, we're doomed! Ladies, gentlemen, and hunters of all ages, Wild Hearts is on the cusp of release, and with the knowledge that thousands of you are going to be diving into it very soon, I thought it would be a good idea to share some of the knowledge that I've gained over the last couple of weeks. Thanks to EA, we've been given pretty substantial early access to this game, and we've been playing the absolute hell out of it, coming to terms with all of the unique mechanics, and honestly, just having a blast. The game isn't necessarily perfect, most games aren't, but it is really genuinely fun to play. With that said, having played through the entire story of the game, and with a couple dozen hours even past that, just hunting random things as well as I please, there are just some things that I realized way too late while I was playing. Things that I wish I knew earlier on to make my journey better, easier, and just more enjoyable. So today I'm going to bring you 10 things that you should know before diving full-on headfirst into Wild Hearts. Number 1. Use Karakuri. I know, it seems obvious, it's a main mechanic of the game, but especially if you come from something like Monster Hunter, for example, this mechanic will feel totally alien to you. You will instinctively just walk around slapping your weapon against things and not even think about the Karakuris, and after a while you might start to wonder why things are starting to feel a bit more difficult than you might expect. The reason is Karakuri and effective use of them. The basic ones that you get can help you out a fair bit. For some weapons, the box gives you access to super strong attacks. Sometimes the torch helps out by adding fire damage to your attacks as well, but I'd argue the most important of the base Karakuri is probably the spring. Quite simply, what this does is fling you in the direction that you're facing when you step on it. It travels a massive distance, and it also has a massive amount of iframes, so you can use it as an emergency dodge quite effectively and consistently. On top of this, later in the game you'll unlock something called Fusion Karakuri, which are immeasurably useful. Great examples of this are the Harpoon and the Chain Trap that I use consistently and constantly in my hunts, both of which provide CC frequently to let you actually get a couple of good combos in on the Kemono. On top of this, in your menu screen there's an area where you can upgrade your Karakuri, and you absolutely should do this. I won't be scrolling down this screen as there are things that could definitely be considered spoilers, but basically just make sure that you go here, make sure that you spend the points that you get passively, and you'll be rewarded with strength and power on your hunts. Number 2. Use the Encyclopedia.
Read me. Read me!
From your menu screen, the last option on the right is called the Encyclopedia. This gives you all sorts of useful information on Kemono, large and small, and even the random tiny creatures that you can find around the map. You can use this to work out what materials come from where, which is incredibly useful for farming new weapons or armor, but arguably more important than that even is this screen here that shows you the effectiveness of different elements, the different physical damage types, and the effectiveness of the different ailments. This unlocks the first time that you hit a Kemono with a weapon not on first kill, which means if you fail a hunt, you can just check this page out to see if there's anything that you can do to make said hunt just a little bit easier the next time. Number 3. Eat the food. In this game, there is a pretty comprehensive food system. You can pick up various ingredients from the map, with each map having their own ingredients available. You can dry these on a drying rack, pickle them in a pickling jar, smoke them in a smoker, and all of these things will increase the effects that these food items will give you, but without diving fully into those concepts, we'll leave that for another time. The simple tip here is eat the food. Eat it! If you have food to eat, then do it. Even if it is the most basic of basic food, like some raw corn or some sesame seeds that you just found and picked up off the floor, just chug it down until you're full. Every type of food gives you buffs. Most of them buff your health. A lot of mid to late game Kemono are fully capable of one-shotting you if you don't have buffed health, so eat the food. Make it a habit to eat for every hunt, and you'll avoid a lot of heartache down the line. Number 4. Upgrade camps. Okay, so early on you're taught about dragon nodes in the game, but it doesn't quite go into the necessary depth as far as I'm concerned. When building camps, placing things like a tent, for example, costs a specific resource. There are 5 resource types available on every map, and a tent can only be built if you have enough of the earth resource, as you can see from the symbol. The various dragon nodes that you find around the map also have specific resource types that they are tied to. If you upgrade a water-based dragon node, you'll gain more water resources. If you upgrade an earth Earth-based Dragon Node, you'll gain more Earth resources. It may seem a bit simple, but working this bit out is what lets you properly set up your maps, build tents in all the important spots because you have the resources available, radars and all of that, also because you worked out what the water resource was. Past this, every map has a number of these ancient tree wells at various locations that you can use to fill up your healing water, and I'd recommend that you actually use these as your tent locations, generally speaking, rather than the Dragon Nodes. The Dragon Nodes are useful, but you can access those from your map to upgrade them once you found them for the first time. These trees, however, are much better spots to have fast travel locations to, in my opinion, as they refill all your good healing juices when you need to. Number 5. Dismantle weapons.
I dismantled my knife wall.
This may sound a little bit counterintuitive, but hear me out on it. I'm not going to show much of the weapon crafting screen because it contains a bunch of spoilers at this point in the game that I'm at, but to put it simply, there is various incentive to dismantle your weapons in this game. First up, when you backtrack and upgrade, you get all of the materials back that you spent. It only costs you a bit of gold, and gold is easy enough to get more of within this game. There are 2 reasons that you would want to do this though. Number 1 is to try other weapons. Put simply, there are 8 weapons available in this game. All of them feel really solid, and instead of feeling locked into one weapon because you put your upgrades into it, you can always roll back those upgrades, put them into something else to make it just as powerful, then move the upgrades back later on if you change your mind and decide that you like the original weapon more. Don't be afraid to try new weapons. You could easily find your favorite is actually different from what you expected. The second reason then is actually the way that the skills work in general. For the most part, every weapon has something called an inherent skill and an inherited skill. Inherent skills are locked to that upgrade, to that specific weapon, but an inherited skill is something that you can take along with you as you progress through the upgrade path. For example, this Maul has Savage as an inherited skill. If I then upgrade it to another Maul that is along this upgrade path, I can choose to bring that skill with me. The result of this is you may realize as you unlock more of the weapon tree further down the line, there was actually a more ideal path that you could have gone down, and dismantling your weapon is an easy way to change these decisions without losing the materials that you spent. Number 6. Multiplayer is a cheat code. Let me be a bit more specific about the way that I mean this. In multiplayer, the Kemono scale exponentially. Their health is ridiculously buffed. I have easily spent more than twice as much time in a 2-player hunt than on a solo hunt, but they just seem to flinch less as well, and so for those reasons it is still a challenge in its own right. But unlike solo hunts, when you die in multiplayer, you don't actually die. It doesn't instantly use one of your 3 life threads. Instead, you go down, and you can be revived for a period of time by the other hunters. If a hunter successfully revives you, you will come back up on low health and no life threads will be consumed. So if you are really struggling with just the whole not dying thing in a hunt, then maybe try getting some help in multiplayer. The revive system alone makes it instantly way more forgiving. Number 7. Tsukumo upgrades. Early on in the journey, you'll find your first Tsukumo. These are the little robot buddies that will follow you around and help you out in solo play. As you find more of the Tsukumo scattered around the various maps, you will get the ability to upgrade your Tsukumo at any campfire. This is super important. As you upgrade their various modes, they'll gain new skills and become far more effective as a sidekick for your hunts, but there is a big tip that I have for you here too. The more you upgrade one singular type of them, the attack, the defense, the healing, or the support, the more expensive it will become to upgrade it. In other words, if you focus only one type of upgrade, it will get really hard to continue upgrading that type. A side note though is every time you upgrade your Tsukumo, you gain 1 max Karakuri thread to play with in combat as a hunter, which is why I'm up to 21 in my footage. The reason for that is because I split all my upgrades. Every time I had the materials to upgrade my Tsukumo, I chose the lowest cost upgrade. The result is that my Tsukumo is a sort of all-rounder, and I'm at my peak performance as a hunter myself due to my excess of thread. This is especially useful for multiplayer as you don't get to have your Tsukumo with you, so if your main mode of play is multiplayer anyways, then definitely just split your upgrades across your Tsukumo to max out your max thread. On top of that, you can also reset this and reapply your upgrades however you want. This game is really forgiving to the concept of rebuilding after the fact. Number 8. Equip talismans. Again, this might seem simple on the surface, but as you go through the game, you will pick up talismans. Sometimes these are just in set locations around the map. More often though, they come as random drops from quests, but you'll get loads of these throughout your journey. Each one comes with a couple of skills on them, and you equip them on the change equipment screen. One thing that you may not realize initially though, as I didn't even know for my first 10 to 15 hours, is that you can actually equip 5 of these at the same time. The change equipment screen only has 1 slot, but once you're in that menu, you can equip 5 of them, not just 1. So make sure that you always have 5 equipped, because if you don't, you're just losing out on tons of bonuses otherwise. Number 9. Sell materials, make money.
I think I'm definitely in it for the money.
Gold in this game is an extremely useful resource. Most notably, it helps with crafting armor and weapons, and by the time you start to reach later in the game, gold will become more and more important, and also hard to come by in the amounts that you'll need it. The singular best way in the game to get gold is by selling materials at the Crimson Treasury in Minato. Specifically, the ones that have these coin icons. These represent Kemono materials that have absolutely no purpose at all in the game other than being sold for gold, and these are worth a fairly large amount of gold as a result. You can sell the other stuff, but it is worth literal cents on the dollar compared to the coin icon material ones, and you can get these materials by default simply by just hunting Kemono. So this is just your main method of income. You hunt Kemono, you sell the coin materials, you get gold. If you haven't been doing this and you're running low on gold, this is your easy solution right here. Number 10. Fisherman requests. Once you've reached the main hub of the game, one of the mechanics that you'll be introduced to is Fisherman Request. This system lets you take on 5 side quests at a time, each of these just passively completable while you're doing other things, while you're focusing on proper quests, and when you complete them, you'll get the rewards listed on the right side. These can be quite lucrative, quite useful to have, and once you reach the max rewards, it will then reset with new quests being given and new rewards of a higher tier, meaning the more of these that you do early on, the better they'll get as you progress, the better things that you'll get for doing them. So just keep an eye on these, always try to accept the ones that you think you're able to complete, and you'll be rewarded as a result, simple as that. Now we're done with the numbered tips, but I do have one final thing to say on this. Take your time. Don't rush, smell the roses, enjoy yourself, however you want to say it. This is a brand new game full of surprises at every corner, so just take it slowly and take the time to enjoy every part of the game. Get the most out of every new kimono and every new map. Really explore and make the most of the experience, because once you reach the end, you may well wish it took you a little bit longer to get there. As well, worth mentioning, not every kimono comes as part of the main story path, so if you only follow the main story, you may actually miss a few of the actual kimono along the way. And that's it, everyone. 10 things to know before you properly dive into playing Wild Hearts. I hope this helps you all out. I hope you're excited to play this game yourselves, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.